Hey you, yeah you, welcome to the Malaka podcast. My top 10 Super Nintendo Entertainment System games. Well, ladies and gentlemen, by popular demand by, 4 or 5 people, I decided to make a Super Nintendo list of my top 10 favorite video games of all time. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, doing these top 10 lists are always a pain in the ass because once I think of 10 things, then I gotta sort it out to 1 to 10. And I just wanna make sure I do this perfectly. Or in my eyes, what I think is my top 10. So before I did the Nintendo one, by the way, I'm going to say this. I'm glad all these games are just digital now in the sense, you could just play them on your computer or download them through your Wii or whatever the fuck. And, I mean, Nintendo was an awesome system. It's always going to be my favorite system or one of my favorite systems, that and Super Nintendo, of course. But remember back in the day, you had those cartridges and you had to clean the shit and Q-tip and maybe some rubbing alcohol in there and, blowing in it. Anyways, it was a huge pain in the ass. And I just love it now. It's just so much easier to play these games. And yeah, maybe one day, who knows? Maybe I'll do a top 64 list. Who knows? I'll be honest with you. I can't even think of 5 good games for that system, but that's a story for another time. Right now, we're talking about Super Nintendo games. And of course, what do I always do? Because I'm a lazy fuck, I go to Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. The Super Nintendo Entertainment System, SNES, also known as the Super NES or Super Nintendo, is a 16-bit home video game console developed by Nintendo. If it wasn't obvious before, but anyways. And it was released in 1990 in Japan and South Korea. It was released in North America in 1991, and it was released in 1992 in Europe and Australasia, Oceania. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm a little tired today, so just bear with me. South America, it was released in 1993. In Japan, the system is called the Super Famicom SFC. In South Korea, it is known as the Super Comboy. Okay? And was distributed by Hyundai Electronics. The system was released in Brazil on August 30th, 1993 by Playtronic. Although each version is essentially the same, several forms of regional lockout prevent the different versions from being compatible with one another. Once again, this is something we don't have to worry about today because now they have the mini Nintendos, the mini Super Nintendos packed with the games, and it just makes the shit way easier, man. Just, buy one of those. It's awesome. I mean, they tried to put some good games on there, whatever. But I remember back in the day, we would just rent the games, rent the system, because back in the day we didn't have this thing called the internet, and when a game came out, you kind of just judged it by the cover. Now you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but apparently that doesn't go for video games. You would just see a cool picture and you'd be like, hey, it could be a cool game, or it could be a waste of $50 to $100, or it could be a waste of a rental. You bring it home and maybe you like it, maybe you don't. But I went to some mall with my mom and we're just, shopping for clothes, exciting stuff. And I remember we were at the counter and the woman just brings out the Super Nintendo box and she's wrapping it up. And in my head, I'm like, there's no fucking way this is for me. Because you can understand, people that know my mom, she'll surprise you with shit. She's really cool like that. But at the same time, something big like this, that's, more expensive. It's just out of her price range for sure, you know. And I understand that, you know, don't get me wrong. I didn't like really grow up spoiled or nothing like that. Although I was an only child, but again, we're getting off topic here. I'm just saying when I got this, I felt like I was dreaming. I remember going down the escalator and I was like, I can't believe you got this for me. Like, thank you so much. I love you. I love you more than life itself. And now you got me this, I will love you forever. So thank you. But it was just a real shock back in the day, like getting like a cool, I mean, this was like the toy back in the day. Like, again, like I probably talked about this before in the last podcast. I mean, maybe I did, I don't know. I don't remember what I did yesterday. But I mean, Nintendo was everywhere. Nintendo ruled the world. You know, it was fucking awesome just to have this. So, and I always liked the Super Nintendo controller better for some reason. Like, I don't know, like maybe it's just me, but like it was just more like, I don't know. It was kind of, you know what, I'm just going to say it. It was kind of shaped like boobs. I mean, if you think about it, because it's more circular and like you can grip it better. You know what I mean? Like the other one was just kind of like a box and you couldn't get a good real, you know, like really good handle on it. But this one you can get a better handle on it, you know? That's just me. I don't know. Am I a boob guy? Yeah, probably. The point is, I think this is overall the best controller and one of the best systems of all time. But let me continue. The SNES is Nintendo's second programmable home console, following the Nintendo Entertainment System, NES. The console introduced advanced graphics and sound capabilities compared with other systems at the time. The system was designed to accommodate the ongoing development of a variety of enhancement chips integrated in-game cartridges to be competitive into the next generation. Well done, Nintendo. Well done. The SNES was a global success, becoming the best-selling console of the 16-bit era after launching relatively late and facing intense competition from Sega's Genesis console in North America and Europe, overlapping the NES's 61.9 million unit sales. The SNES remained popular well into the 32-bit era, with 49.1 units sold worldwide by the time it was discontinued in 2003. It continues to be popular among collectors and retro gamers. With the new homebrew games and Nintendo's emulated re-releases, such as on the Virtual Console and Super NES Classic Edition. So there you go. I mean, there's still a demand for these games in 2019. People still love seeing Mario in the 2-bit world. I mean, or 2D world, or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know. I don't know a lot about gigabytes and chips and hard drives. I'm just saying it's fucking cool. I mean, these games are still popular today. Of the console's 1,758 games official releases, 721 were released in North America, 517 in Europe, 1,448 in Japan, 231 on Satellaview, and 13 on Sufami Turbo. Never heard of any of them. 293 releases are common to all regions. 148 were released in Japan and the US only. 163 in Europe and the US, and 30 in Japan and Europe. So everyone's got their taste. There's certain games that were popular here and there. It doesn't matter. I'm here to talk about my top 10 favorite games on Super Nintendo of all time. I think this is a pretty accurate list. If you don't agree with me, then that's your problem. The point is, I feel that this is a pretty solid list. So, ladies and gentlemen, on with the show. Number 10, Street Fighter. Now, for those of you who don't know what Street Fighter is, I'm going to tell you. Street Fighter is a game where, well, it's basically about people that use the streets for fighting. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's a simple game, one-on-one combat, and it was so popular at one point they even decided to make a shitty movie out of it. Jean-Claude Van Damme played Guile. Um, Raul Julia, rest in peace, played M. Bison. And yeah, the movie was not exactly what we expected. I mean, all the fighting happened at the end of the movie. There's some classic lines in it, such as "Game over! Quick, somebody change the channel. You got paid? For you, losing your dad was the saddest day of your life. For me, it was Tuesday." What I just read right there is pretty much the gist of the movie. Well, actually, no. There's a classic speech that Van Damme gives. I I don't know who's teaching Van Damme English, but I mean that guy's got to be fucking fired. But no, you lost your balls. And then he gives this fucking speech on I'm on the go and I'm gonna kick that son of a bitch Bison's ass so hard that the next guy will feel it. And for some reason, I sound French and sacre bleu, and I don't know what the fuck is going on, man. I don't know. I don't know. Everyone's just nodding their heads and shit. And apparently they recycled the old uniforms that they wore in that movie, the Street Fighter movie, for the Three Ninjas Kick Back movie, or vice versa, some shit like that. I don't know. If you've never seen Three Ninjas Kick Back, that's good. You know what? I'm so stupid. Sorry, it's actually Surf Ninjas. You know what? It doesn't matter if you've seen any of these fucking movies I just said. The point is, the game kicks ass. Okay? Now I'll give you a little bit of Street Fighter history here. Originally, it started off as an arcade game. When Street Fighter 2 came out, everyone was like, where the fuck is Street Fighter 1? Like, I never heard of Street Fighter 1. And it was just basically, like I said before, for the arcade. If you ever see the movie Juice with Tupac, they're playing that game in there. I mean, that's one of the first times I ever saw Street Fighter. And then later on, they're just like, okay, fuck it, we'll just make a Street Fighter 2. And there you go. It just became an instant classic. I mean, just a classic, one-on-one, people fighting. You got a guy called Guile. He's your classic, American looking dude. He's got the hair, he's got the sonic boom, and the fucking jump jack kick, whatever the fuck he does there. I think he was in the army. Then you got Ken and Ryu, who basically are like the same guy. I've been told that Ken is faster, Ryu is stronger. I don't know. I always pick Ryu, and it's actually pronounced Ryu. A lot of people don't know that, if anybody actually gives a shit. Yeah, that's what he's actually called. And then you got a guy called Dalsum, who's an Indian guy who can somehow stretch out his arms, his legs. What else can he stretch? I don't know. That's up to your imagination. E Honda, he's a classic sumo fighter. He's got all the classic moves there. The 100-hand or 1,000-hand slap or whatever the fuck it is. You got Chung Li. She can kick some serious ass. She got the fast kick there. She can turn upside down, do the helicopter. Awesome. You got Zangief, who, again, I didn't know how funny this guy was until I saw him in the movie Street Fighter, or in the other movie there with, what's it called? The John C. Reilly, Wreck-It Ralph. That's what it's called, when they're having the therapy session in the beginning there. I don't know. I mean, like every time I saw in the video game there, I just assumed, he was just a big bad dude. He always moved the slowest though for some reason. But then he has there's one move where he grabs a guy and gives him a fucking move in the air and takes off half your power. But I don't know. He wrestled bears, lots of scars. Sure, why not? And then the other guy, last dude, was Blanca. Who's kind of like I don't know. I guess the the Hulk version of this game, and every time he gets into a ball, he can shock you with some electric shit, and you know, that's the basics. Those are the basic 8 people. Now, I could talk about Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I'm not going to. I like the games with a nice pace, so that's why I picked Street Fighter. And then, like, let's say if you pick a person, beat all these other people, then you got to face all the other people. So you got to face Belrog, who I'm pretty sure they just ripped off Mike Tyson here. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm surprised I never heard a lawsuit from this, but anyways, you got Vega, he's a Spanish bullfighter. Somehow wears the claws there, and he's got the mask like Jason. Okay. Then you got Sagat. He's a kickboxer. And Ryu was the one who gave him the scar on his chest. Yeah. And Bison, who, I don't know, this guy's got just magical powers for some reason. I don't know. He looks like a dictator, and I mean, that's how cool of a guy Raw Julia was. I just want to say this, like, going back to the movie here. Like, the guy would do his research, like he would actually look up history and just see a whole bunch of shit, like how dictators acted, and, take a couple mannerisms from famous dictators. And I mean, this is the last movie he ever did, so that's why the movie was dedicated to him at the end there. And a fun fact, actually, I found this out later on, that this has got nothing to do with Street Fighter, but Raw Julia, he was actually supposed to play the bad guy in Desperado. And even when he was in the hospital, he was still reading the script. So, I mean, that's how much a dedicated actor he was. So, that guy was awesome. And I just always like this game. It's just a fun game, classic fighting back and forth, I never understood the bonus games. I mean, that's one thing that's completely disappeared from video games, I guess, is points. Who's got the highest points, and it's like that stupid scene in what's it called? The movie with the kid from the Wonder Years. I don't know, the Game Master. I don't know what the fuck that. I mean, the movie was just a long commercial for Nintendo. But then at one point, I don't know, the guy just bashes a bunch of buttons, and he goes away, and then he goes, 50,000. You got 50,000 in Double Dragon? I'm like, first of all, I didn't know how the fuck's that possible. Who cares about points? The point is, I'll tell you what the real point is. This game is awesome. It's a classic, good one-on-one fighting game, and I highly recommend it. Once again, I can't really recommend the movie, but at the same time, like, now I think about it, it is actually like a funny movie. I don't know, it was meant to be a comedy or something. I guess it was. I don't know, like, but whatever. I don't know. Hey. Yeah, just, I don't know. What? Sure, just watch it. Who cares? I mean, if, you got nothing else to do, fuck it. Anyways, number 9. Or should I say number 8 and 9 is a game that basically, once this came out, everyone forgot about Street Fighter. And these games are Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate. Now, let me just paint the picture here, boys and girls. It's the early 90s. We're playing video games. We're, worried about getting coins and superstars and, beating people up half the time. And then all of a sudden, Mortal Kombat comes out. The first Mortal Kombat comes out. And they got ninjas literally gripping guys' heads and ripping the heads out of the body so much that the spinal cord is just dangling there. And it's just showing a whole bunch of blood, like it's some kind of old school samurai movie, and just splurting all over the place there. I didn't know the body was meant to have that much blood. I didn't know the spinal cord was connected to the head. These are a lot of things I didn't learn in high school, but I definitely learned through Mortal Kombat. And this game was insane. When it first came out, I mean, everyone was just like, okay, holy shit, this is like Street Fighter on steroids. This is like the fucking game. And this game was so big, and it created, a a whole bunch of shit. Basically, that a lot of parents complained, and it got to a point where this created the whole rating system. And this is why we have rating systems in games. That's why if you go buy a game, which I don't know if people still do that, you have to be a certain age if it's 18 plus, whatever, obviously. And yeah, I mean, people to this day still feel that these games are violent, and yet they still make a shitload of money. I mean, I think they just made like Mortal Kombat 11 or something like that, and it's just going to keep going. And they also made a movie out of it, which I truly believe, from what I've seen, is by far the only good video game movie out there. And, they got Christopher Lambert to play Raiden. I thought he killed it in that one. I thought he was fucking awesome. And yeah, it was just a really cool movie. I mean, it was a great movie for its time. I mean, today, I'll be honest with you, I think it still kind of stands out. I mean, they did have to do a little, couple shortcuts here and there to make it, PG or PG-13, whatever, which, is disappointing because, you go from the game to that and you're kind of like, whatever. But, for some reason, it still works. I think they pulled it off. Someone made a good point saying that they only showed blood right at the end of the movie. I mean, everything else, like all the fight scenes, whatever, they didn't show anything. And that was one of the, rules when they were making this movie. They just had to, make it accessible to kids. Because they know, more than likely kids are going to go to this movie, right? It's not like 40-year-olds at the time are, going to have a romantic date to this. And they had to make it for kids, and it was very successful. Then they made part 2, and holy shit, did they fuck up? I don't know what the fuck happened there. I mean, I'm just assuming all the budget went to the first one. I mean, it just, I don't know what happened. I remember watching it in theaters too, and I was like, this is really shit. I don't know, like this. I mean, the special effect. Like at one point, they got people wearing like these weird masks, and it just, I don't know what the fuck happened, man. I don't know. And even the acting was shit, Mother, you're alive. Too bad you will die. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when I watch these movies, I know it's just entertainment. I'm not expecting, Academy Award-winning shit here, but come on, do we not have like table reads, dress rehearsals? I mean, just like even looking at Shao Kahn's mask in the second one is just, I'm pretty sure I can go to It's My Party and buy a better mask. I mean, this is, I don't know, man. What else can you say? Kick-ass song, though. I will say that. They did keep the song. And that song will always be stuck with that franchise, because that is a pretty kick-ass song. But anyways, let's go back to the games here. So I picked both these games for like a tie here for 8, 9. I don't know what the fuck they call it. I don't know. I guess a tie for 8, I guess. But I mean, both games kick ass. So when the first Mortal Kombat came out, it only had a certain amount of characters. Only 6 to be exact. And Johnny Cage was one of them. Now, Johnny Cage is like this Hollywood actor who a lot of people feel he's not worthy enough to be a martial artist, and it's all fake and shit, and there goes a motorcycle going by. This is how well this podcast is planned. But anyways, so originally what I heard when they made these games, that it was supposed to be a spin-off of the Universal Soldier movie, whatever, with Van Damme. Then it didn't turn out like that, and they just wanted to make a fighting game, whatever, starring Van Damme, and that didn't work out. And then, all the similarities, whatever, ended up in this character. That's the story I was told. Now, I don't know whether to believe it, but there are a lot of similarities. I mean, kind of like the look and the moves, and even the one move he took from Bloodsport, where he literally punches the guy right in the balls, which again is a brilliant and yet funny ass move that he does on Goro in the movie. Spoiler alert. So I I always liked it. I always thought it was cool. You know, great move. Who cares if it's ripped off? What isn't ripped off these days? Who gives a shit? Then there's a character named Kano. He's like the criminal. You know, he's got this metal mask or something because his eyes fucked up. I don't know. Like clearly, again, you know, this is clearly a ripoff of the Terminator. I mean, again, who gives a shit? It looks cool. I don't know. The guy kind of looks like Jason Statham for some reason. I don't know. I'm the transporter. I see you don't keep up with current events, do you, Tommy? Thank you. So then there's two ninjas in the game named Sub-Zero and Scorpion. In many ways, I always consider these two guys the face of the franchise, or faces of the franchise. Correction. Yeah, one of them is blue. He shoots out ice. Another one shoots out the classic spear. You know, I don't know what that is, to be honest with you. I mean, the movie, they made it like come out of his hand and shit. I always thought that was even cooler, you know. I mean, because even, you know, in real life, it's like how the fuck does he have a long spear under his arm or some shit? I don't know. It's like when in Maverick when he had the gun under there. I mean, it was only so big, the gun. The point is, it's fucking awesome. It's one of those signature moves, you know, that's pretty much a staple in the franchise. You know, get over here, come here. Oh, these acting skills are really coming into play. And yeah, they're probably the two coolest characters in the franchise, even to this day. And you got Sonya Blade. She's the one after Kano, you know. Shows that in the movie as well. And yeah, she's, you know, I think part of the whole CIA ops or cops or some shit like that. I don't know. Then you got Liu Kang, who, again, let's be honest, guys. Every time we play any of these fighting games, there's always a guy that just resembles Bruce Lee. You know, so Liu Kang, I guess, is that guy. He's definitely way more annoying with his sounds. You know, he's got the famous bicycle kick. You know, and yeah, it's, you know, it is what it is. He's you know, cool character, you know, kung fu, all that shit, you know. And then you got the last character, Raiden, who is the god of thunder. And he's the guy basically looking after all these other people. Well, the good people anyway, you know, which are Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, and Sonya. So, you know, he's looking after them, you know, making sure they kick ass in the tournament there. And yeah, like I said before, when this game came out, it was just bye-bye Street Fighter. And it basically upped the fighting to the next level. And one of the main reasons it did is because it created a little thing called fatalities. Now, fatalities, if you don't know what that is by now, it's when you beat the shit out of your opponent for 2 rounds, and then at the end, you know, a big thing will just show up and say, finish him. And, you know, you get to perform a brutal, basically murder on this person that you're fighting, you know. It's not like you just like knock them over, you know, and say, oh, that's it, you know. Yeah, you could, you know, freeze the person to death. You could, you know, do pull off your face and, you know, just give them a nice little barbecue. Or you could do something weird, like do a cartwheel and uppercut him. Yeah, that's okay. Anyways, I mean, like I said, like the first game, you know, it was there, but like when the second game came out, and that's the game I recommend, that's when everything, you know, just basically went to the next level. So the fatalities were bigger, they were better, the graphics were better. Like it just looked like a cool game. Like it was the closest thing to the arcade that we had. And you know, fuck, how many quarters did I waste on that shit? But I mean, now it's like 50 cents. I mean, like I played a pinball machine, what was it, a couple months ago? Man, it cost me like a toonie for 3 plays, or even 2 plays. I don't know. The point is, it was just better to have it on the home console, you know, and it just brought fighting to the next level. And one thing I forgot to mention is that Reptile was a secret character in the first one. You had to do all these weird things, like you had to make sure to not use a certain button, and a thing had to be flying in the background. You had to be at a certain stage, and I didn't give a shit about any of this shit. And then like you ended up fighting a guy who had like the same powers as Scorpion or whatever, and Sub-Zero, and who gives a shit. But his character was definitely upgraded in the next one, which is Mortal Kombat 2. So you get to actually play as him, without doing a whole bunch of weird, stupid shit. And that was the thing back in the day. Like, we didn't know. I mean, we had to literally go by the clues that they gave us in the first game. I didn't give a shit. I just wanted to play the game. That's it, There's another character, Kung Lao, who has a hat. His whole hat is like a razor blade kind of thing, It's almost like, I don't know, he made his hat out of the blade from the workbench there. And yeah, he's a cool character too. You get to play as Shang Tsung, as it's maybe pronounced, I'm not sure. I forgot to mention that before. In the first game, he was the last boss before Goro. Forgot to mention him too. I'm very forgetful. I'm sorry. This dude had like 4 arms or something. He was this big, massive thing out of Greek mythology or some shit. I don't know. A cool guy. You don't get to play as him yet, but you get to play as Shang Tsung and a younger version of Shang Tsung. So there you go. You get to play as also Katana. She's a female ninja. I think she's had an off and on relationship with Liu Kang. I don't know what's going on there. Jax, who is Sonya's friend. Sonya's not here for some reason. I don't know. Maybe she got captured. So Jax is like, all right, I'll fill in. Melina, another female ninja. She's the purple one. For some reason, she has really fucked up teeth. The same thing with Baraka. Baraka's a new character. He's got really fucked up everything. He's got blades coming out of his arms. I don't know. He's like a weird mutated version of Wolverine. I don't know. But then again, I welcome the new characters. I really do. They did forget to put Sonya in Mortal Kombat 2. Now I'm looking here. They forgot the Kano too. But for some reason, I don't know, Mortal Kombat 2 was just like a really good game. And it just upgraded like everything from the first one. And it's what we wanted, For some reason, you can turn your opponent into a baby. I don't know why that's necessary. I'm not gonna lie, like it is funny. Maybe they put it in as a joke. I don't know, but sure. Then they had new bosses like Montoro. Also had 4 arms. Is he Goro's brother, uncle? I don't know. Who knows? Shao Kahn, which I mentioned before, the dude from the movie, who almost looks like a samurai version of Shredder. That's the best way to describe it. And ladies and gentlemen, I do realize at this point, I'm not doing the best at selling these games. I realize that, but trust me on this. These are very good games. And like I said before, I could not pick between Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate. Because to me, Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate is, it's the ultimate game for Mortal Kombat for Super Nintendo. It's really that simple. But a lot of people were pissed off when Mortal Kombat 3, the original one, came out because it was missing a couple characters. And it was missing basically the face of the franchise, which is Scorpion. So I never understood that either. I mean, at first I didn't notice, and then I'm like, later on, I'm like, wait a minute, where the fuck is Scorpion? I mean, like, why wouldn't you have the main dude there? I mean, maybe they were just trying out different shit, like putting some robots in there. And for some reason, they made Sub-Zero look like a Backstreet Boy, and it just, I don't know, it was weird. And like, I don't know, the graphics didn't seem as good for some reason. I don't know. And then for some reason, like, it just didn't work. I don't know. It just, for those obvious reasons, I guess. But anyways, Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate, I feel they definitely improved on it for sure. They brought back a lot of the characters. They made Sub-Zero look like a ninja again. Yeah, it was just great. I mean, just all the characters in there, all the, fatalities are back. Some new ones, some old ones. They got combos and shit now you can use on people. You can turn into an animal and, and kill somebody like that. It's just a great game. I mean, it really is. But once again, they're missing people like Raiden and Johnny Cage. And you know what? You just can't please everybody. But later on in, was it PlayStation or something like that, they made Mortal Kombat Trilogy. And I'm pretty sure they got all the players back in there. And they were like, you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to throw all the people in there and that's it. But for Super Nintendo, like I said, I can't decide between both these games because they're both great. And, I just recommend Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate. But what I don't recommend, once again, is Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which is the second movie. Holy shit. I don't know, guys, again, I don't know what the fuck happened there. But I've heard they're going to revamp the Mortal Kombat movies again. And yes, they will be R-rated. And guys, just don't fuck it up this time, please. I mean, just, don't be afraid to spend a couple dollars. And, let's not make the characters look like trick-or-treaters. Okay? Thanks. Number 7, NBA Hang Time. Now, a lot of people are probably wondering, why didn't you pick NBA Jam? Why didn't you pick NBA Jam Tournament? Well, I'll be honest with you. NBA Hang Time is basically the same shit as NBA Jam or NBA Tournament or NBA whatever the fuck. It's the same shit, but it's a little bit better because the graphics are better. They actually have the people's heads. Like, remember when you played like on the arcade and like you can actually tell who the people are and it's not all pixelated and shit. You can tell like who the people are. They got Dennis Rodman with the color hair. Okay, it's awesome. And it's the same shit. You can do the awesome jams and shit. And getting ahead of myself, I didn't even say what the fuck this game is. It is classic 2-on-2 basketball at its finest. And you get to do some kick-ass jams, insane jams. These guys are literally going into space and then landing an awesome dunk. And like, it's not like you got to put in stupid codes and shit. I mean, you just get a good running start, with your speed. And you just do some awesome jams. I mean, they're pretty random, Sometimes you get, really cool ones. Sometimes you get like decent ones, Sometimes you get ones where it's like, he's on fire. And when he's on fire, that means he's gotten 3 consecutive points in a row, that player. And whatever he shoots will always go in. I'm not sure if he can shoot all the way from like the back court and shit. But if he's at the 3-point line, he'll get it in. The ball is on fire. The ball is literally on fire. The mesh went on fire. I mean, people are doing jams in this game, like bombs are going off. Oh shit, I forgot to mention. I'm gonna go back to Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate for a sec. One of my also favorite players is Smoke, the robot. And one of my favorite fatalities is the one where he just goes all the way at the end of the screen, opens up his chest, and all these like little bombs come off, whatever, out of his system there. And then all of a sudden it just shows the planet Earth and it just blows up. And the movie's called Armageddon. Now, for some reason, I don't know why, I find that fucking hilarious. I don't know why. I mean, like, after that happens, I mean, there's no point of playing anymore. It just goes back to normal. So, again, you just gotta have fun with these games. You know what I mean? Like, people say it's too violent, it's too stupid, it's, fuck off. It's just a game. Who cares? I mean, Jesus. I mean, like, have you seen the shit they play on Showtime or HBO or Netflix? Like, who cares, man? Just have fun with it. So anyways, NBA Hang Time is an awesome game. They put more players in there. It's just cool. It really is. He's heating up. Number 6, Donkey Kong Country. Now, guys, I remember growing up and playing Donkey Kong on Atari and Nintendo, and I just showed my age. But the point is, it was pretty basic. I mean, it had like what, 3 levels, and then that's it. There would just be a constant loop. This one, the graphics are insane. It's a company that did it called RAR Entertainment, whatever. And I mean, they just, again, brought Donkey Kong to the next level. And they made 3 of them. I always like the first one the best. Your whole mission is that you play the new school of Donkey Kong. So I guess Donkey Kong the second, I guess? I don't know, because in the beginning it shows like the original Donkey Kong. He's got the beard and shit, and now he's got a buddy named Diddy who, wears a red hat. I guess that's his signature. And yeah, it's like a tag team thing, but you can play one player, and you can just, either play as Donkey or Diddy. Diddy's a little faster. Donkey's a little slower, but he's more powerful, I think, So it's just a fun game. It's just fun levels, a lot of bonus shit in there as well. You collect coins as bananas. You get 100 of them, you get a free min. I wonder where they got that from. A lot of bonus stages, like I said before. It's just a fun game, And sometimes you just need a fun game. I mean, you can play with 2 players. I'm not sure if you play at the same time. I don't think so. No, you can't. Maybe you can. I don't know. I forgot. The point is, it's a really fun game, and check it out. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, you see it on the cover. See, again, like back in the day, we'd look on the cover, we think, okay, it's a good game, whatever, But this one, you could see, like, where the extra money went. And by golly, it really shows. And it's just a fun game. And this is it's a classic game. It really is. I don't have much else to say about it, to be honest with you. Just play it. I don't want to, you know what? My goal in this podcast is just to tell you what games to play. I'm not here to ruin it for you. I'm not going to tell you how good the music is. I'm not going to tell you how the fun factor is almost like at a 10 at this game. You just got to play it for yourself. But I promise you, it'll be worth it. Number 5, Castlevania 4. Now, as much as I love Nintendo, ladies and gentlemen, they came out with 3 Castlevanias. 1 and 3 are pretty good. The second one, it's still okay. It's a little different, that's all, Like, for instance, you'd be playing the game, then all of a sudden, you're just wandering around and... What a horrible night to have a curse. Now, none of that shit is in part 4. The graphics are phenomenal. It even starts off, like the way the game starts off, it just lures you in there. I mean, it shows a grave, whatever, and then the lightning hits it and the bat comes out, and it's Dracula getting his revenge and shit. And then you start the game and the music is awesome. The graphics, like I said, are sick as hell, and you can shoot the whip like in 8 different directions. I know it sounds like little shit, but when you're playing a game, it's cool to have like this much control in the game. And it's just, again, it's a fun game to play. They put a lot more into this game, and I don't know what it is with this one, but it just kicks ass. It really does. And the whole point of Castlevania is this dude named Simon Belmont. He's just going around killing all these ghosts and goblins and spiders, and he kills all these old school, horror movie guys like the Mummy and Medusa and just all this cool shit. It's almost like the movie brought to life, but just way more color. Actually, it does have color, unlike the black and white movies, and it's just a really cool game. I mean, again, I don't want to ruin it for everyone. It's just one of those things you just have to play. I'm not here to ruin anybody's good time. I'm just here to help you. You're welcome. Number 4, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. And like the angry video game nerd said, This game is not to be confused with the shitty third movie. Okay, I have two theories that killed the Ninja Turtle franchise for a little while. It was the Power Rangers and the shitty movie that was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. And yeah. But when this game came out, it helped. It helped a little bit. It came around, I think a little after the time or whatever the fuck, but it's a great game. Like when Turtles 2 came out for the arcade, we got that for the Nintendo, but it wasn't the same, man. Like the graphics, and it just didn't feel the same. It was still a good game, but it just didn't feel the same. We still wanted that home console of playing Ninja Turtles, and we got it with this game. Again, this game is just fun as fuck. I mean, like they got all the bad guys in there. The graphics are awesome. Music's great. Everyone's got their own signature move, all the turtles. I usually do a little history on, what something is before I talk about it. But if you don't know what the fuck the Ninja Turtles are, I mean, you can go fuck yourself. I mean, you should know by now, okay? And don't judge it by by these fucking movies that recently came out, okay? Don't please go back in time. Turtles in time. Anyways, and check out those two movies, at least the first two, Ninja Turtles and Ninja Turtles, the guys with the ooze. All right, check out those movies. But you want a fun game, you can play 4 players at the same time. It is awesome. It's just a fun game, and that's why it's number 4 on my list. That's it. It's that simple. Again, I don't want to give it away. It's just shut up and get the game. Number 3. Mario Kart. What do I have to say? Mario Kart is one of the funnest games of all time. It started off on Super Nintendo, and as far as I know, every Nintendo console after that had to have its own version of Mario Kart because it was just that much fun. I mean, you could play 2 people. I've heard you could play 4 people. I think that's bullshit. I don't, even with the whole 4 thing with Super Nintendo, we were never able to figure that out, but I'm sure, hacks online can figure it out, whatever. But the point is, even if you play with 2 people, it was awesome. And it's got all the cast of Mario in there, such as Mario, Luigi, Princess, Bowser, who is slow as fuck, by the way, Koopa Troopa, Yoshi, I believe Donkey Kong Jr., and Toad. I always pick Koopa Troopa. He's, good all-around player. And again, it's just a fun game. You go in there, you race around, you get to use kick-ass items such as the shell. Green shell shoots straight. Red shell is like a heat-seeking missile. You get to use banana peels, trip up the opponent's feather. You can jump high. Superstar. It's the same thing like Mario. You get to just wipe everybody out. But if you want to be a real dick, if you're in let's say 8th place, and if you're lucky enough to get a Thunderbolt, this shrinks everybody. That's right. It shrinks everybody. And you can just run them the fuck over. And I'm okay with that. Because it's not about who finishes first. It's about if you can finish first and fuck over the people behind you. That's what makes this game so fun. And there's different levels, of course, all taken from different games of Mario. And the Rainbow Road, it's got no, buffer zone. It's got no shit, where, if you fall off, you're screwed. That's going to cost you at least a good, 10, 15 seconds. And if you're playing 150cc, you're basically screwed. You can't afford to make mistakes. And then they got battle mode, where you can just battle people with all the weapons I just said, one-on-one. Again, fun up the ass. It is one of the funnest games I've ever played. I still enjoy it to this day. Check it out. If you've never played it, I don't know what the fuck you're waiting for. Go and get it right now. Go ahead. I don't care. Don't even listen to the other two. Just go ahead. Go! Number 2, Super Mario World. Ladies and gentlemen, I've already expressed how much I love Super Mario 3. It's probably my favorite game of all time for any system that's ever been invented. And Mario World, I'm not going to say is better than Super Mario 3, but it's pretty damn close. It's almost the same kind of layout, different worlds, but a lot of the weapons are missing. That's the only thing I'm disappointed in. But there's a lot of new weapons as well. And you get to actually use Yoshi, which apparently they wanted to use back in the day on Nintendo, but the graphics or whatever, the technology wasn't there. To this day, I still have no idea why Yoshi is not allowed in the castle. I mean, there's theories online. I don't know, maybe he's not old enough, he forgot his ID, who knows. But the game is fucking awesome. Again, it's just a fun Mario game. It's 2D at its best. And there's even a part where you get to go in this like dream sort of sequence, whatever. That's what I call it. I don't know, Star World, you know. And basically you get to turn all the enemies into Marios. Or at least the Koopa Troopas. What is the point of this shit? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But that's how fun this game is. Like, you don't even give a shit. You just want to go in there and have a good time and see Mario fly with a yellow cape like Superman. And it's just awesome. Like, it really is. It's just a fun game. I mean, again, I don't want to give anything away. Just play it. Just go ahead. Okay? I'm not waiting for you. Okay? But I'm telling you right now, go ahead. Get the games, okay? All the games I said right now, just go and get. Wait, hold on. Wait, I got one more game. But before I do that, I'd like to give a shout out to a couple of the games that didn't make the list, but as we like to call, honorable mentions. We got Star Fox. We got F-Zero. We got Contra 3. We got Super Metroid. NBA Jam or NBA Jam Tournament. Super Punch-Out. Kirby Superstar, Earthworm Jim, The Death and Return of Superman, NHL, 94 and on, it doesn't matter, it's still good, Aladdin, Lion King, Final Fight, Pilot Wings, Mario Paint. Mario Paint, let me tell you something, that game alone is worth getting just for the fly swatting game. If anybody knows Mario Paint, you know what I'm talking about. Spider-Man and Venom, Maximum Carnage, Killer Instinct, NBA Live, 95 and on. Like I said before about NHL, it's the same thing. It just keeps going. Great series. Tetris and Dr. Mario, Bust a Move, Mrs. Pac-Man, Super Adventure Island, Super Bonk, Super Metroid, Battletoads, and Double Dragon, Battletoads in Battlemania, and Mega Man 7. And of course, the Mega Man X 1, 2, and 3. You can never really lose with Mega Man. Unless you're playing Mega Man Soccer, which is a game that actually was invented for some reason on Super Nintendo. I don't know why. Like I said before, I mentioned Three Ninjas Kick Back. It's just worth checking out the animation in this game. I don't recommend this game. I'm just saying it's funny they actually made a game based on the movie that no one's probably ever even heard of. Home Improvement, yes, they actually made a game. I don't know why. Shaq Fu, I think that's been ripped on enough. I don't want Shaq, beating the shit out of me one day, so, That's right. You better know your role, Malaka. I'm gonna beat you up like I did Kobe. That's funny. Anyways, games like Super Mario World 2, I was always disappointed in. Same thing with Double Dragon 4. I don't know what the hell happened there. You guys noticed I didn't mention a lot of RPG games. I'm not a fan of that shit. When you play a video game, you want to actually play the game. You just don't want to face it. And then like have the computer do something. You push a button, and then some numbers show up, and yeah, you got hits, and like it's stupid. I never understood that, and that's why my favorite game for Super Nintendo, my number one, will always be The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Now, I love The Legend of Zelda for Nintendo, but I'll be honest with you, the one for Super Nintendo, it blows it out of the water. Sorry, I usually don't go back into the voice, but that's how much I love this game. And anybody knows me, I always liked Zelda, always grew up on the games. I mean, up to a certain point, but anyways, yeah, it's an awesome game. I mean, you basically start off with like Zelda being captured, because I don't know, for some reason, I don't know, nobody learns from their mistakes apparently in this game. But anyways, then it starts off with kind of a young Link, I guess. And I don't know, the theory has always been that this is like technically the very first game, even before the first game on, or the first couple games on Nintendo. And it starts off with him, and he's in the village, and he sees his uncle or father. I don't know what's going on there. Who cares? You're so wrapped up in the game and the music, and like it's raining, and you're like, wow, oh my god, this is crazy, and then now I gotta like take over this shit. I got the shield and the sword, and and like you go back and forth, from the past, hence the title, and to correct shit, and you got to get certain items, of course, that helps you along the way. And I just, again, I've said this, well, how many times have I said this? 5, 6? I don't want to ruin this game for anybody. I really don't. It's one of those games where you should just go in there and just play it. I mean, if you're a Zelda fan, if you know the whole history, behind the whole, discovering, what your surroundings are in life or in a game. I mean, this is like the attitude that they had for this game. And I heard just recently that when they made the original game, they wanted to adapt it sort of like Indiana Jones, make it like an adventure game, and you're discovering all this shit, and they mission accomplished for sure. And like I said before, it brings the one on Nintendo up to the next level. And they put a lot into this game. Obviously the graphics are better, more worlds, more items, more things you got to figure out, and it's just an amazing game. It really is. I can't say enough good things about it. I mean, the game's almost flawless from beginning to end. It's really cool, and that's why it's my favorite game on Super Nintendo of all time. And someone made a good point that usually for Nintendo consoles, they usually make 2 Zelda games. This one, they only made 1. So maybe they knew that it was so good that they just couldn't top it, and I don't know. I might have to agree with that. But yeah, the point of me doing this list and is just, just to let people know that, back in the day, like this is all we had, like in many ways. It's not like today where there's so many games and just everything it just has to be a hit. I mean, there were so many like hits and misses with a lot of these systems, and I was just thankful, just to get this system, and I didn't have to fucking blow in it anymore, and for the most part, you just put the game in there and it worked. So it was great, and it's an amazing system, and this was like the golden age of Nintendo. Now, unfortunately, my next list is going to have to be the top 10 games of 64, which, oh fuck, that's going to be a pain in the ass. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to give you a little insight of my favorite games growing up. And I want to thank Nintendo for all the great memories once again. And I feel my 10 games I listed are very solid. And I'd like to remind everyone out there, if your parents buy you something, be very thankful because they worked their asses off for it. And that's why this is my top 10 Super Nintendo Entertainment System games.